All right. Yeah, I'm recording, sure. Hi, I'm Scott. This guy to my right, your left, maybe, is Pete Granberg. We're gonna talk tonight. We're basically gonna do like a live stream recorded version of kind of what Pete and I typically do kind of on a race weekend and sometimes in between weekends. Um, to kind of catch up, with a few days, and in this case, like, what are we now? A little over a week after the event. Um, to kind of have some perspective on how the weekend went and everything like that. So, um, yeah, not the weekend. The weekend started out to plan, like 100% things were going so
Yeah, we did.
well. And like as you look back on the flow of the weekend in terms of like what you had hoped to go in with, um, what what are your thoughts on how everything shaped up?
Yeah, I knew what I had to do, and I damn well did it, and I tried until the very end.
Yeah.
I told you, I was like, well, I got these tires. I'm gonna do what I did at Lime Rock because that worked really well for me.
Hmm.
Um, and I think when that worked really well for me, I was like, well, it's not like I've never been to Autobahn either, so I got really nothing to lose, right? Like, okay.
Sure.
Um, and that's kind of what I did. Put the tires on and then just let it rip. And as soon as the tires got up to
No. Is it just me? Yeah, I think we lost Pete. So you were telling about putting on the tires and just ripping
yeah,
it.
I think I was just kind of like, yeah, that was kind of the goal. It's like I knew I wanted to break the record and just kind of come out swinging, and that's what I did. Fourth lap or third lap, I broke the record, and I knew I kind of fudged turn 8, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go back one more time to clean that up. Cleaned it up, and I beat the record again by another 2/10,
Hmm.
and that was that. So, and then the rest of the weekend just kind of was I was trying to be planning on just staying consistent, right? Because that's just the name of the game for podium sprint. So,
Yeah. Yeah, and the rest of the weekend, like at least how I observed it, you came in, you did really well immediately, and
mm-hmm,
then when you broke the record, kind of had it for the next session,
mm-hmm,
your mindset completely switched. Like you were done trying to go. I don't want to say faster,
yeah,
but you were done
yeah,
like trying to improve on that time. What you were focused on is
right.
consistency. Was driving in the worst conditions of the day because you knew that's what the podium sprint would be doing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Does that seem right?
That's right.
It's like looking back on that mindset of, all in for the podium sprint. Do you think that mindset, like, I don't want to say hurt you, but like, do you feel like that mounted the pressure on that event rather than like, or on that session rather than, focusing on necessarily the inputs and, some of the subtleties that we were talking about? Do you think that played into it at all?
So it might have subconsciously, and I took a long time to think about this because obviously I burned myself, right? I went 4 off in podium sprint, and sorry, I'm like probably fast forwarding, but like,
No.
yeah, after that happened, I really, was trying to reflect like why did that happen? Like that's like the first ever time I've made a miscalculation like that where I just was just slightly too far off the track and the car looped itself. I've never ever had that happen. I'm not saying I've never gone off the track. I have
Yeah.
definitely gone off the track many of times, but like never to the point where I'm like, I know I was confident I was gonna make that turn and I just was not in the right spot.
Yeah.
My long-winded way of me saying, I think um from my observation and my like just reflecting on it, I think I was just like physically and perhaps maybe even mentally like just not drained but taxed more than normal.
Hmm.
Because I know I was talking with Ryan, and for the people listening, Ryan, the mental health agility coach, and like the guy that helps with the eye tracking stuff. Um, I was talking to him about like just general nutrition or whatever, just because I
Mhm.
was like, man, I woke up Sunday morning and I just felt awful. Like I normally I eat a ton of food. I'm able to put a lot down, and that morning I don't know, I just did not feel good. And I mean, even before podium sprint, we were trying to set my stuff up, and I was like, I gotta run and use the bathroom, and like I ran
Yeah.
out of the car. And it's funny, Chris Sullivan's got like a stream of me, like photo clips of
Oh,
like me running out of my car.
I did
Yeah.
see that. Yeah.
So yeah, that was a thing too. Um and then I
What
don't
do
know,
you?
I think just looking back on it, I think it was just like a physical or mental like drain or both, and I just wasn't there
Hmm.
like 100%. So, I don't know. Might sound like an excuse, but I nobody's perfect, and that's just how sometimes things happen.
Yeah. What do you think it was that morning? Do you think you just didn't drink enough? You didn't hydrate enough the night before? Drink enough? What do you think that was?
So, I don't, and that's the thing I don't know. I think I didn't I knew I was hydrating, but I don't think I ate enough food. I think
Hmm.
like because usually and normally before this cat like turns my computer off again, I swear.
That happened.
Happened last
Yeah, that happened last time.
time. Yeah. Thanks, Maddie.
Hi, Maddie.
But anyways, yeah, I think I was hydrated. I have my my hydrate mix, whatever.
Hmm.
But like food wise, I like I said, I didn't. I usually have something small in the morning just to give me enough energy. But like this was something that I was talking to Ryan about, and it was one of those things. I went out Sunday morning. I wasn't feeling good, but then had a huge like adrenaline dump, and like
Hmm.
for those people who don't know what an adrenaline dump is, and I didn't know about it until I started training Muay Thai and I had my first like competition like sparring fight or whatever you want to call it. It basically is just like you're in a situation where your body's like trying its best to do a very extreme thing, like of having a fight, or example, or like having a race. And then, couple minutes after that, things subdue. Your body realizes, oh, we don't need all this extra thing happening right now. So we're just gonna thing might be energy, whatever, focus. We're just gonna like get rid of it. And then that kind of like puts you in a really like low energy state,
Hmm.
and it just takes up a lot of energy and resources for your body. And I'm just like,
Hmm.
why am I having this? Because normally, like, I don't, and that's what prompted me to talk to Ryan. And Ryan's like, "Well, did you eat anything?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't eat anything." So I'm kind of, it's a physical thing. People are sitting on
Yeah.
track, they're sweating their butts off, and yeah, I think the health and physical aspect of it is totally overlooked sometimes, and I think that's what just happened. Because if you think about it, if you don't eat and you're tired, you're not going to be performing at the best of your ability, and you're going to make
Right.
a misjudgment like that, and then you're off track. So I don't know. That's just my guess of what happened. I don't know.
Yeah, and it's something you try to take care of while you're at the track.
Yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
Especially in the mornings, you're pretty methodical about,
Yeah.
when you drink, what you drink,
Yeah.
eating. And if none of you have seen Pete eat, he may be a small human being, but he puts down an enormous amount of food when he wants to.
Yeah. Yeah. I won on that note, really quick, I won a burrito eating contest on a work trip. It was a 2.5 pound burrito. It was like
Jeez,
this
yeah,
big, something like that, and I like destroyed it. And they were like, "How did you eat all that food?" I'm like,
yeah.
"I don't know. I was hungry." So, but anyways,
Yeah, we've got a burrito place close by that does it's called Fat Burrito, but yeah, you can get
nice.
like a toddler sized burrito. It's silly, but
That's awesome.
um, so yeah, the podium happened. Mindset going into the podium, like we'll watch the video and look at the data here in a minute. But what was
Yeah.
going into it? What were you hoping to do? How were you feeling? All that stuff.
Well, and perhaps this played a little bit into it too. Um, I made the conscious decision. I was like, you know what? We don't have data for eye tracking for podium sprint. Let's put it on. And like, I was excited for that. And
Yep.
like, I'd like not to say that like that would have helped me perform better or worse. It was just one of those data points that I'm like, okay, let's just see that is.
Do you
Where I was
wh-
hoping,
when we
yeah,
put that on, does
uh-huh.
that like are you conscious of that on some level when you are driving? Like are you trying to do
Not
something
really.
different?
No,
Okay.
you kind of just forget that it's there. But I was hoping, and this was like the data is very obvious that my eyes or I'm not looking as far ahead as I should be. So like I was hoping subconsciously or consciously, I would, knowing that I was wearing that thing, I would, oh, I need to look farther ahead, and that would potentially help me, right, be faster or help me anticipate the car as opposed to reacting to it after the fact.
Right.
Um, so I think I didn't really notice that, but then afterwards, it's just kind of like the once we got past the whole eye tracking thing, like you don't really think about it after that.
Okay.
It's on, but I think I was scrambling for whatever reason. I don't know why. I just felt rushed, and
Hmm.
maybe that's what seemed that could have thrown me off. And my aim didn't work or wasn't turning on,
No.
and the apex was dead. And so that was just like another thing. I was just like, oh shit, this none of this stuff is working. And I was like, oh screw it, I'll just go. So like, I don't want to say that is also a reason too, but like, I don't know, mentally that kind of messes with you as opposed to just like getting in your car, getting ready, press a couple buttons. Okay, cool. I'm good. I'm
Then you're
chilling.
there.
I don't have to think about it. I just roll out, that certainly did not happen. So
Yeah. When you
yeah.
um, do you like it? Because I've known plenty of drivers who, right before they go out and drive, especially like kind of in a high pressure, high stakes session, like a podium
Mhm.
sprint. Some like to just sit in their cars, be super zen, visor down, not talking to anybody. Some people are like social butterflies that they can't like get in the car until like 2 minutes before they go out. Um,
Mhm.
you know, I saw from the eye tracking video that Mario was out of the car, kind of hanging around, and he comes up to talk
Yeah.
to you. Like, is
Yeah.
that typically cool, or like, do you kind of
I
need
don't.
your space?
Yeah. No, I don't. Usually, I don't mind that. And typically, we normally like all get out of our cars and chat because like Sunday Cup goes out or Falcon Club SC goes out.
Sunday Cup forever.
Yeah, whatever. And usually we have like a couple minutes to chat and say like, oh, good luck to everybody because that's just how Club TR is. Like
Yep.
we're all very just the camaraderie in that group is great. A lot of good friends in that group, and
Yeah.
just that's just how we are. So that doesn't normally bother me. But yeah, I don't know that I don't think really played anything. So
Okay. All right. Well, easy enough. Well, why don't we do this? We wanted to compare your fast lap from last year to your fast lap this
mhm,
year, kind of see where your gains
mhm,
came from, the pickups, locations, like if it was like a car placement thing, if it was an input thing, if it was the car development that we've continued to be doing, stuff like that.
mhm,
So I am going to share this screen.
mhm.
Like Pete suggested, we don't have Apex or aim data, but he was running his Firelink in his car, so that's the data we are going to be looking at.
If it helps for the viewers,
Yeah.
because I don't know how big the screen is on everyone's monitors. Scott, if you could hit
Yep.
settings in the towards the right on the map,
Yep.
and then hit enable satellite dimming and switch color palette, both of those. That will help people who are colorblind as well as people with just poor eyes like myself,
Yeah.
or at least hard to see. Yeah, it just makes it easier. So,
Okay. So we're only going to look at the last year's and this year's, and then we can kind of bring up the podium sprint as
Mhm.
we look at it. All right, so um, can't figure out Discord, but he's got fired back down. Yeah, please roast him for all of this. All right, so the pink lines are last year, orange, or
Yep.
sorry, purple are going to be this year's. So,
Yeah.
real quick, what we kind of like to do is we like to look at like the big key areas rather than go like step by step. Because oftentimes, um, you know, we take as much time as we need, but at the same time, like the less information that we can go through and the more focused we can stay, the typically better it is. So immediately we can kind of see several big areas on this speed graph down here that we can look at. Um, one of which, the big one, is here at turn 4. I'll zoom out on the map just a little bit. There we go. Turn 4, right here. So a big pickup, even though he went in slower. Let's see. Coming out turn 6. That's right. Turn 6 was one of your big pickup points too this year. The your move onto the back straight was definitely better this year. And then going into 13 had some ups and downs, but that was better. The other big place was your brake release going into turn 1, and then your transition point from 2 into 3. And that, if I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, Pete, that was largely a car placement thing. Is that what you recall?
Mhm. Yeah, it was a car placement thing, and also like something that we've been working on a lot this season is trail braking, and
Mm-hmm.
like I finally feel like I've unlocked it. I'm still obviously fine tuning it, but like
Yep.
I did not have that control that I had last year. So yeah.
Yeah. So the thing that you and I really worked with is where to give up speed to be able to gain it later. And this zone right in here between 2 and 3 is certainly one of them. So
Hmm.
most of the time, you give a race car driver clear track and like we want to go for it. And so what a lot of people want to do is coming out turn 2 is just like floor it as soon as you see an exit to go like way track left out here. But what that does
Hmm.
is that really pinches you for 3 and kind of kills your speed all the way down into
Hmm.
4. So what we were really working on is, really being able, still trying to maximize this as much as you can, but really ensuring that the placement coming into turn 3 was good, because 3 under ideal conditions is just, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's just a very slight lift to kind of get the car a little rotated and go.
Yes, and I think the first time I was flat through there, I actually bounced the rev limiter coming out of 3
Yeah,
because I was carrying so much speed, and I was like, "Oh shit," and I had to shift, and I just wasn't expecting that.
yeah,
That's in the video too.
yeah. And so we can see right here that your speed, you really maximized coming out of turn 2 a lot better. I mean, you're here
Oh
4
wow.
4
Holy
mile an
cow.
hour,
Yeah.
you know, at apex you're a little bit quicker, and then you kind of meet up down here a little bit slower going into 4, but like big meat under the curve here. And part of
Yeah.
that too was knowing that you could kind of really commit to throttle, and then because you commit to throttle, you can actually rotate the car easier when you do go to release the throttle.
Yep.
So that's
Mhm.
something that I know you and I have been working on a fair bit. I'm trying to remember. I know Lime Rock coming out of the
Mhm.
left-hander for that quick right-hander. That's one place we did. Gingerman had a few areas like that. Mid Ohio, I certainly know. So that's another one of those things that we've been working on for the past couple of years. Let's see, coming into turn 4, there's a pretty big difference here. And this is where you were actually a little slower on entry this year on your fast lap. Uh,
Yeah, I was looking at this last night and I found that kind of interesting.
yeah, yeah, because I remember like you were kind of dancing the car all the way through it.
Yeah.
But what was interesting, and it's hard to kind of look at the plus or minus here. There we go. Sorry, I'm having to manage this too. Um, it's kind of hard to see like the plus or minus going in or out, but I think you probably lost a little more than you gained in
If
turn
you
4.
want, you could scroll in with your mouse wheel if you have one on your mouse on the
This
graph.
right here.
Yeah, if you got it. Yep, there you go. You can,
Yeah.
yeah,
So
that helps.
yeah, no, you probably actually gained, again, without kind of a plus or minus thing here. It's hard, but you certainly lost on entry, but you gained a fair bit coming out.
Hmm.
So I'd probably reverse what I said and said that you probably came out a little ahead. But this would be one area going into next year
Next
that I
year.
think you and
Yeah,
I would look at. And I
yeah,
think we could kind of blend these two a little bit. Like you can't always
yeah,
have both of them,
right.
but I think we can blend it.
Hey,
I
really quick, I'm
Yep,
curious that could you hover over the lap time 132 in the left column
yep.
and press plus minus?
Oh, is that
I
what I
wonder
was
if
looking
it'll
for?
it doesn't show it in the spot that we wanted in. That's
No.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
Um, so yeah, so that'd be an interesting. What I do find encouraging in terms of car setup and stuff is that your minimum speed was much better and much earlier in this
yeah.
particular corner. So your minimum
Yeah.
speed here, we were looking at 87, and last year it was 85 and change.
Mhm.
Yeah. So certainly improvements on the car were made. Turn 5, I remember coming into this, the entry of turn 5 was kind of a sticking point for you. You want to
Yeah.
talk about that?
Yeah. Yeah, turn 5 is interesting because this was I was telling Scott for everybody turn 5 for me never seemed I was never able to get it consistent. It was either too early or too late and that would just totally screw up my run into 6 and out of it. And so I think what ended up happening was my fast lap I like took it earlier than normal and I was able to just like because I took it earlier than normal and I trusted that the curbing will be there, I probably went faster or I don't know, maybe I guess the data says I went the same speed. So maybe I just hit it exactly the way I needed to hit it. I don't know. But that was like kind of my thing going into the morning session like okay, let me try to hit it earlier than I normally do to see if I can carry more speed just because that track does get kind of wide on the exit.
Yeah. Yeah, in turn 5, it's a little uphill on entry, and then it kind of narrows down and
Yeah.
drops off at the exit. So
Off.
kind of
Yep.
all the work kind of needs to get done before the apex, and you're just
Right.
kind of trying to gather it up on that
Letting
backside.
the. Yep. Hmm.
Yeah, and the speed trace here kind of bears that out. You certainly are coming into it with a lot more speed than the previous year,
Hmm.
100 miles an hour versus 97 basically. So
Yeah.
3 more miles an hour going into 5. The big one that we can look at here is significant amount more braking
Mm.
going into 5. And you do a much quicker release and then kind of go back to it a little bit, probably on a downshift here. But yeah, your
Hmm.
your braking force was significant, I would say. So that would
Probably
probably
those EBC brakes. This was the first event with the big brake kit on it, so I was probably not used to the braking force. I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah, maybe. And on the speed chart, it suggests that you just over slowed going into it this time.
Mm,
So
yeah,
so that would be an area next year that we could look at in terms of,
yeah,
how your initial brake pressure sort of thing.
yeah.
And then 6, let's see, let's go over here. Yeah, so 6 was one of your big pickups. It's certainly a point. This is a very difficult corner, and this is
Mm-hmm.
designed by the track designer to be very difficult. This is kind of his signature move. If you've ever driven North Course at Autobahn, they have almost this exact turn over on Autobahn. Oddly enough, I think it's turn 6 there. Um,
That's funny.
this is a very similar turn to Gingerman, turn 5 and 6 as well. If you've ever been to NOLA, turn 6 at NOLA, CMP turn 6 as well. It's a bit of a thumbprint for him. Um, but the huge question is always track usage on entry and speed, because you really need to get the car rotated. Perfect.
Yep.
Yeah, turn 6, exactly. I swear he must write that into his contract or something whenever he designs a new track. I'd have to look at Barber, because he did Barber as well. 1, 2. No, 6 is like the winding S's down the hill, I think, so it's a different thing. Um, but yeah, your ability to rotate the car much quicker back here was a real benefit for you. You're,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit less speed going in, about a little bit lighter on the braking, but then right here, you get the car rotated the way that you need to, and then you're able to get back to
That's
throttle
speed.
and
Yeah.
use that throttle to kind of finish the rotation without counter steering.
Right. Right. Right.
So that was a big benefit. I mean, we're talking 4 mile an hour, kind of in the meat of the corner.
Yeah, that's pretty huge.
Yeah. So that's
I was gonna say
yeah.
this turn for me felt really well, or felt really good. Like I think last year I struggled with it a lot, and I was like aiming at the one brake marker on the left, and I know last
Usually,
year we were
yeah,
like, oh well,
or
let's try to aim in between, or let's try a 2 or whatever. And this year I was like, you know what? Let me just aim for the 2 to give me the most amount of space, and
right.
that's kind of what I stuck with. And again, I think a lot of it with just really practicing the release of the brake slowly to get the car to rotate and use that energy.
Yep.
That combined with where I knew where I was supposed to be going really allowed me to kind of do what I needed to do.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, it's the one marker tends to be right around here ish, and the 2 tends to be around here. Kind of
Yeah,
depends on the car, like how well it's willing to rotate. Um,
yeah,
and actually, if the car is um, willing to rotate, you kind of need to come in a little bit wider just to help the car not like go too
right,
quickly or something like that.
right,
But
right.
if you really need to help the car rotate, you can come into it a lot narrower with a little bit
Hmm.
more load on the nose before you release, and that can help it there. Um, then we'll fast
I'd say see
forward.
you later. Bye.
Okay, bye. And then turn 8 here. Um, yeah, a little bit more speed coming in, but it's this brake release that's really, really nice down here.
Mm,
Yeah.
yep.
And so we can
Dude, it
see,
felt good. It felt good when I
yeah.
got it. I was like, yes.
Isn't it funny? Like you went out to do the lap and you knew like the one thing that you wanted to like really focus on to do better,
Yeah.
and you did it.
Yep.
It's great.
Hmm.
Yeah, so the braking force going into it, very, very similar. You can definitely see you're later on the brakes coming in, a little bit more at the peak, but then a much slower release. Look at that difference in here.
That's crazy. It's funny you're showing this graph because I never really look at those graphs, just because
Yep.
I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah. So, and another kind of hallmark of, I talked about this a couple years ago in the data webinar that Streeter and I did. But one of
Hmm.
the things you can look at in the shapes of these things is
Hmm.
uh, slope, like how much it's sloped,
Hmm.
location, when it starts, and then
Hmm.
shape of the bottom.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
so we can see last year, the in pink here, it's a much sharper bottom here. So which
Yeah.
tells me that you held the brakes and then when you're ready, you just kind of
Planet.
released and went. Yeah.
Yep.
But then what's interesting is all the way up here, the lines are very, very similar until right about here. Then you can see that the purple starts to really go more to the right, it starts to flatten out much sooner. That means your brake release started right back here, which if you look on the map, makes sense because that's right before or right when you start leading the car down.
Yeah.
And then that
If you
nice
want,
a nice slope through
zoom in
here.
too, because I can't see it, so I
Oh
don't know
yeah,
if
yeah,
people
yeah.
else like on the
Yeah.
graph. Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
So you can see how the spacing here gets wider. And so that slope is all brake release change. And then,
Yeah.
min speed obviously is better, 55.6 versus 54.2.
Mm.
So an extra mile and a half in there. But you gain all this time and speed. It only crossed over a
Hmm.
little bit here, but then you're kind of right back on top of it going into 9,
Yep.
which is right up here. Um, turn 9 and 10 is another tricky complex. You want to talk about how you look at that?
Yeah. Um. Honestly,
Yeah.
this is like I hate this turn so much, or I hate this chain of turns because you got it. Like they call it patience for a reason. Like you have to be so patient,
Yeah.
and even if you feel like you're going slower than you actually want to be, you're not. You're actually going the right amount of slow because if you go too fast, you totally screw up your run out of 10 for the long straight. So like for me in my head, I was like, same thing with like the trail braking, the release.
Hmm.
Get on the brakes, like slowly bleed off the brake so that way I can use that braking force to rotate the car and brake late. So then that way that's or not brake late, sorry, turn late.
Hmm.
So then that way that sets up for turn 10 really nicely. I don't have to like fight my way back from, I mean, we're looking at the image here, but if you're on track, all the way from the left side to come all the way back out to the right, to go back all the way to the left. Like if you allow the car to brake under rotation, or if you allow the car to rotate under braking
Hmm.
properly and brake and turn in later, wow, my brain is really working hard right now.
You do
It
good.
kind of sets you up with a really nice, like super easy left hander to like just go down the straight.
Yep. And so what we're looking at is right in here with we're on the longitudinal trace, which will kind of transcribe not only what's happening in braking but load and all that stuff. We definitely see that you braked later going into turn 9, which
Mm.
is borne out right here. Definitely carried more speed all
Holy
the
cow,
way in.
dude.
I mean,
64 to
8
56.
miles an hour.
Jesus.
Yeah, just a huge amount more speed,
Jesus.
right? Now, what's interesting is your min speed decreased, but that's not always a bad
Probably.
thing.
Yeah.
And this is something that is important, is just like comparing your min speed and thinking that you need to keep your min speed super high. In a long duration corner like patience, oftentimes a lower min speed is faster because of what leads into it and what leads out of it.
Right.
And this is one of those times that chasing a little bit of that. Sorry, let me zoom in there. There we go. Chasing a little bit lower min speed to get the car rotated is the important part. So your min speed happens, right before the apex. And we'll look at your longitudinal G-trace here, which, again, definitely braked a little bit later. And we can see a slight slope difference between the purple and the pink right in here. You can see that the purple is definitely a slower brake release, but look how much longer you let it ride for.
Yeah.
And that min speed, which happened right here, was also how you were able to carry all of that brake release. So that was well done.
Thanks. I got a good coach.
Dude, that's the thing. Like you're doing great, dude. Like the fact that you can actually go out there and do this, it's great. So yeah, the lateral here, you definitely got to a higher, let's see, yeah, higher lateral load than you were the year prior, right in here. So we can definitely see that the mechanical grip of the car is doing better. So
that's good.
in low speed corners like this, the arrow's not working too much, so we can attribute this. I know we didn't really do anything with springs or sway bars, so it's really down to alignment and tires. Tires were certainly going to
versus 660 plus.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know that we what did I do? I went a little more aggressive with front camber as well.
Yeah, you bumped it up by point something degrees.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember, but yeah.
So that's like in these slow, especially long duration corners like this, that's a good sign that like mechanically the car is working well and on a good improvement path. And then right here, this is where the work gets done, right? And this was another good, carried in 2 mile an hour more.
I slid a little bit in 10, which I probably lost some speed there.
Okay.
Like just the slightest. It wasn't like totally perfectly smooth.
Yeah. This corner seemed a little finicky that weekend. I was just looking again on video and data, but it looked trickier than I had recalled it.
I think they need to like repatch or repave that part of the track because they have already done it. Because like when you go out there, you can see that they've repaved it before, but that section of the track that they repaved it is like gone. You can kind of see it, but it's not really there anymore. So that spot in the track kind of sucks, but it is what it is.
And that is,
you have to anticipate it, and not react to it.
There it is.
So
there it is. I like it. And the good part is here. Zoom in again. Again, slightly lower min speed here. That just means that you got your lateral rotation done much earlier than last year. We can see that it kind of hung out all the way over here last year, but you were kind of done much sooner so that you can...
Yeah, you can see the slip too. That little dip, as my guess, is where that slip is.
Yeah, so that was right.
Yeah.
Right before exit. So let's look at the longitudinal. Not too much of a thing. So you didn't seem to lift much. If you did, might have been just a slight lift in here, but yeah. And then you were able to hold a mile per hour advantage, by not a ton. Mile an hour or so, and then shift, and then it kind of got a little tighter up top, which again was either a power thing or a drag thing. But I think in all ways we've improved the drag of the car. But this is pretty minor. I think also too. Yep.
Yeah, I shifted last year into 5th, or I don't know. I'd have to watch the video. I don't remember what gear I was in, but like coming into the back end of this straight, I bounced the rev limiter like 3 or 4 times, as opposed to like shifting and then having to downshift again. Because like I didn't really know what was going to be better, and I just said, "The hell with it! I'm just going to bounce it 3, 4 times and
Yeah.
call it a day."
Yeah.
So maybe that played a role in the top speed. I don't. Maybe it didn't. I don't know.
Yeah. And kind of what's interesting is you reach top speed sooner. You had kind of this gentle slope in here in purple. So that suggests to me that there is a bit of a delay from going from throttle to
From the
brake.
brake.
It just wasn't that immediate and like super big hit that we usually see. And we can see that.
Well, yeah, I can see the comparison from that other slope, but yeah.
Yeah. And so this is your longitudinal. And we can definitely see versus last year's a much softer.
Yeah. Huh.
Much softer application.
Interesting.
Even in the slope, it's not nearly as steep as it was last year. Not as hard as last year either, even once you did get there.
Yeah.
But the other thing that we were really playing with was 13-14, which is a bit of an arrow corner as well. And so, in something like that, in turn 4, that's a way that we could analyze, how the arrow is working, stuff like that. But you carried a ton more speed into 13. Ton more speed. 4 mile an hour.
This turn 2, or also, I think in my record breaking lap this year, I stayed in third gear, and I was braking and then got back on it right away. Last year, I shifted into fourth. I shifted into fourth. I braked, and then I kept going in fourth gear, and I just left it in fourth. So like I wasn't sure, I was kind of screwing around with those things in the sim to see what was faster, and so some things don't translate 100% from sim to real life. So so just one of those things.
Yeah, it can give us ideas, but got to kind of verify them. So a lot more speed, but definitely a lot more decel coming into 13, which would be harder to judge because you've got more to decel from, so you've got a bigger speed delta coming into it. So this would be another spot that we could take a look at next year.
Moving out.
Yeah. And then, again, kind of a slightly lower dip, but the exit was certainly better by a couple miles an hour. And then there was just this little hiccup here.
Maybe a shift or that was my shift, because in the live stream they have a fireball coming out of my exhaust as I shift. I probably shifted too slow or something.
Gotcha. Yep. It might have been. So, and again, that's another thing that we, data-wise, we could look at. Is it beneficial to shift to fourth early to avoid the shift on the straight?
Yeah.
Or is this entry speed going to be worth it? So we'd have to kind of do that math.
Yeah. That's so interesting. This is crazy that we could not predict isn't the right word, but I guess analyze.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
And so so you're ready for this. So the real thing might be leading onto the start of a lap. It might be better to leave it in fourth because you get that uninterrupted acceleration. But then on the end of your lap, because it doesn't carry all the way down the straight, you do you keep it in third to go in.
Yeah.
So
but doing that may sacrifice the next lap, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So you would have to know that.
Did I nail all the corners 100%?
Right.
And will it be okay if I sacrifice the next lap if I want that extra tenth or whatever? Yeah. I see.
So yeah.
That's cool.
So
interesting.
Yeah, it's I like this stuff. It's cool. Yeah. All right. So now for the thing that Pete hasn't even seen.
Oh boy.
Oh boy.
I think I know where we're going with this.
All right, so first of all, thanks to Ryan Shuda from the Mental Agility Coaching Center. He's been kind of letting us play with his eye tracking glasses for a while. We got them on Matan as well in one of the races, but it unplugged in the middle, and so we're not sure if we can salvage any of it because of the way that the file does file things. But yeah, so this is the second time we had it on Pete that weekend. And actually, let's do this. Let's open up. Sorry, I'm going to close that. We're going to open up your session just to like get a.
Good. Perfect. Recording. No, all set.
There we go. Can you guys hear that as well?
All right, go ahead and buckle on.
Yeah, I heard it.
You heard
Kind
it?
of soft, but
Yep. Yep, it's all the way up. So, we talked about this last time, but for everybody watching,
windows open. What the hell?
the number that's associated with each one of these circles is the gaze point. That everyone kind of has a unique number, and so over the course of the time that we record, you can see how many gazes Pete actually has. We get into the many thousands by the time we hit like half an hour. So the number of things that we look at, we often underappreciate how often our eyes are moving around. The size of the blue circle is going to be the dwell time, how long the gaze rests on any given point. And then the air lines in between are called saccades, just simply the movement of your eyes from one thing to another. Our eyes are jerky unless you are fixed on one object that happens to be moving. We cannot smoothly track anything. It is a extraordinarily rare skill that some people have, but most of us do not. So those are called saccades. Those are going to be the lines in between. So, we can see after 16 minutes he's been sitting in pits, we already have 2,100 different gaze points, which is pretty wild. And in the course of a few seconds, we've got another 30 more. So it's pretty wild how quickly these go. So, Pete, I gotta find it here real quick. You were doing social media, yeah. More cool eye tracking video with Robertson Racing, using the eye tracking video. Like it's, I definitely clipped that. I'm gonna share that. Super cool.
That's awesome. Please do.
All right, I'm gonna turn this down for me because it's super loud. But yeah, this is just some of. Still too loud. There we go. But this is some of what we are looking at in terms of where the eyes are going, kind of the areas of interest. This cluster right here with the Apex Pro and the aim is one area. Sometimes the dash, and then the mirrors are typically quick glances like that, especially exiting corners. Pete's pretty good about glancing up there to take a look. So, one of the goals that we kind of try to hit, or one of the hallmarks, is that before you start braking, ideally your eyes have already started to glance towards the exit of a corner. Certainly, again, they're still moving around nearly always, but you're always, like, again, trying to think a few steps ahead. And then when you're at the apex and coming off of a corner, you're already looking towards the next braking point, or like the next feature on the track. So that's kind of the point where we really want to be trying to do. All right, so this is leading on to lap, and it's a little futzy.
I wonder if it had something to do with the heat, because I will say this thing
It's
was
hot.
really hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was hotter than it was at Road America when I used it.
Yeah, and so that would be a thing. I think ideally I would have it in like a separate holder, like something on the side of your seat,
Oh,
so it could
100%, yeah.
stay cool and everything, because it's uses a phone to record and everything. All right, so before the braking zone, again, ideally we're up here, which Pete does kind of start glancing. Now we're here. It's a little behind.
Dude, this is rough.
But yeah, right through here
Oh.
gets a little better. Alright, so turn 5 coming up. Still, there we go. Little glance ahead before the
pretty good.
braking. Yep.
Yeah.
Coming into 6.
Oh,
That was a
that's
little
rough,
late.
dude.
That was a little late.
Yeah.
Alright, going into 8. Yep. So you glance forward to see the cars. Now before the braking, ideally we're looking up here. Got a couple glances. And of course, yep, we see all the traffic, and it's probably a big sigh at that point, right?
Oh, I thought this was podium sprint. I was like, wait, why are all these cars over here? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we'll get to we'll go ahead and pull that up then as well. There we go. All right, same. Yep. This is the fitting, basically.
Yeah,
so
the
you
reason
really
why-
don't unstrap that chin? It's just on and off?
Nah,
That's wild.
dude, never. Yeah. I don't know, I'm probably crazy for doing that, but whatever.
Yeah, I
That's
like
fine.
that.
Yeah, it's not bothering me. That's good. That's actually perfect. It's fine. I don't even.
Yeah, for people wondering why it gets so hot, this thing is a phone and it's wedged in my seat in between
Okay.
my cushion
Yep.
and my leg and the side of the seat. So there's literally like no airflow.
There's nothing.
Okay.
Just cooking.
And that's just yeah, we wedged it in there so it doesn't go flying around everywhere. So
Exactly.
yeah.
And yeah, so this is what our third time using this.
Hit the record on the GoPro on the door for me.
Yeah, third time. Yeah.
Yep.
Or maybe
So you-
fourth time.
Your door.
I don't know, maybe twice at Road America. It doesn't matter. But
May
yeah.
have been.
Yeah.
So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and kind of seek forward. There's Mario.
Hold up. I'm watching you. So,
So again, like all the little things that we probably have no idea we're looking at,
I'm watching you.
is just like, of course you can say, yeah, I looked at Mario's face, but like
Dude.
all of a sudden we've got like all these little points, and it's like it's nothing weird at all, but just like what our eyes look at in an extremely short amount of time is pretty remarkable. Come on now.
You got them freshies on or your scrubbed ins?
Yep, they're talking about tires.
Yeah.
And then he goes up, and then it's Pete all alone in his car.
Yep.
So what we'll do is we'll kind of come forward here. We'll see Ito here in a moment. Be sure that.
There's my visor. Yeah.
Yep.
There we go.
Visor brings all this down nicely.
Yeah.
Pull it down my neck.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
You
I
call him.
asked Alex to pour some water.
Not a lot, just a tad. I'll tell you when to stop.
It was fun because last time we didn't have audio either, so it's.
Oh, yeah. I didn't realize there was audio with this. I thought this was purely video.
Yeah. and then go. Go cold water down the neck and go. So. And which is good. No looking at the cameraman, just straight on to blend line, blend line, blend line, blend line, and gone. Now, especially at these slower pace, right? This is really when we would expect the vision to be extraordinary. Is right when you first go on track at that reduced pace, although we can certainly see Peta's not at much of a reduced pace right now. So,
dude, outlaps, 9 out of 10 speed outlap. I'm tired of these people going slow.
Alright, gauge cluster glancing up. Alright, coming up to the braking zone, hopefully looking towards the exit. A little late there.
Yeah, that's
a little late here. So yeah, already kind of seeing kind of how the eyes are working, we can infer a few things about Pete's mental state, let's say. He certainly is one to hustle, one to go straight out and get it done, but might feel rushed or hurried or a little in his head about something. Is that, I know we talked a little bit about it, is that overstating anything?
No, I think that, like, I don't think I felt rushed. I think I just didn't feel good physically. Like, and so I was not fully focused, I guess is the best way that I could put it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So, all right, so this is kind of the last chance to be able to take a chill, take a deep breath before the start of a lap. Apex to apex. Yeah, so Pete's about half a beat to a full beat behind visually from where we would hopefully try. Although this was better, and you do look towards that flag station that we talked about, right? Alright, braking for turn 1. Eyes are working a little bit better through here.
Yeah, still I feel like I'm struggling.
Yep. Yeah, you see the helmet move one direction to another, but the eyes didn't follow it. Got some good zero steer coming out there. Yeah. Car wasn't very happy here.
It was hot, dude, but no excuse. I got outdriven anyways, whether I got DQ'd or not.
Yeah.
Unless that third lap that I got DQ'd off of was the lap, I don't know.
Yeah. We could look at that data for sure too, right?
Yeah.
Yep, right there. So again, this is the time to be able to take your deep breath, open up the hands, kind of do the whole relaxation thing, because Autobahn doesn't give you a ton of that.
Yeah, I'm not even looking up at all, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Again, coming out of 14 is probably your best because you've got those clear markers that we talked about explicitly, right?
Yeah.
And then here's actually decent. It's a
Not
little
bad,
behind.
yeah.
It's a little behind. And, you know, we've talked about the difficulty that you've had in the past about, you know, the flow zones and the flow sections, one thing leading into another.
Yeah, this is a little better.
Yep. Yeah, it's not all bad, Pete. Come on. Now, I'm
just very critical of myself.
Yeah, I want to pause and back up there because you do something really good that I want to highlight. So again, the size of the circle is the dwell time. And what we talked about last time is that there's two general types of vision. There's focus vision and peripheral vision. The longer the dwell time is, the more chance you have to go into peripheral vision. When we look from one place to another, it's very focused, but we have to let our eyes rest on a place to open up our peripheral. And our peripheral vision is where we detect speed and rotation. Super important. So, coming into this, right? See that big circle? So even though it's certainly closer lower down than we'd hope, in the middle of turn 6, which is one of those areas where we had been kind of struggling last year to get the car rotated, get back to speed, you do the good thing of dwelling right here to be able to open up your vision so that you're really seeing more of this, even though you're looking here. You're seeing what's in the peripheral. Does that make sense? So that's a good thing. Just wanted to highlight that. Definitely behind here.
Yep.
A little better on entry. A lot of that curb. Alright. Here we go. Deep breath. Big exhales if you need to relax. Big inhales if you need to get hyped. A lot of curb here. Exit. A lot of the brake markers going into this 13. Really wide, right? Yeah, so what's interesting to note, I think, is that on several occasions going into the corner, one of your longer dwell times tends to be at the brake marker. And typically and hopefully, your brake marker, when the gaze falls upon it, should happen much earlier on the straight, so much farther back. If you're going to like really dwell on it, that needs to be much sooner. Because really, when we get our heads turned, like you and I talk and work on a lot, is to get your head turned, and then again, you got to get your gaze and dwell farther up so that your sensation of speed and your being able to detect your rotation can really start to come in. Here, and then this is about when it all happens. You did have a good gaze point there in the middle of 3. And so again, it's kind of the same thing on entry, is we have this long kind of gaze straight up, kind of straight off the track, right? Instead of something in this area. Let me focus on that. Something in this area, or even really trying to look through these trees, because we know we know what's back there, and so even if we look there, our brain can help fill in those gaps.
Dude, that's crazy how that happens so fast. Like
the hands up in the air, right?
Yep. It's like, well, fuck, we're done.
Yeah, and you said that's the first time that's happened to you, right?
Dude, I've never had a miscalculation like that where I let the car do something like that. I'm trying to think, out of all the podium sprints, like I've said before in the beginning of this, I've gone off. Everybody's gone off, 4 off or whatever, but it's either usually because I totally blew the braking zone, or I totally misjudged a turn. But this was dude, fine margins of maybe less than a foot that I was too far over.
Oh, certainly less than a foot. Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, it was so weird because I thought my ABS just shut itself off, and it wasn't. It was fine. So
yeah,
it was just so strange because when it happened, it was I was turning just a little bit, and then instantly the car just went went around, and I was like, "What the heck?" And I was just so confused.
Yeah, and you came back and you didn't know what had happened. Like that was one of those
Nope.
moments where like you and I had to be like, all right, let's look at video and data so that you don't leave here like just wondering,
What the fuck? Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think I shared that I've had this experience and like I was pretty sure I knew what had happened at the last time we went to Heartland Park, going into Alpha. It's a really, well, Alpha's one, I guess it's turn one, but it's a fast right left combo.
Yeah.
And I, had my car very, very on the edge, but as I looked from trailing video, just a small part of my tire was over the edge of the concrete. And so that high speed turn, when you turn, the car, we usually think, if you look from a top view, we usually think that the car like kind of carves in from the front. But at high speed, the car is much more willing to rotate than at slow speed. And so it really pivots from that center point. Car does this. So when you turn in at high speed and you're kind of maximizing the car, the front end turns in, the back rotates out. So if you are too close to the edge of a track like this and you turn in at that, the front definitely wants to go, but the back end steps out as well. And that is 100% what happened to you. I'm going to play that back, not to like belabor the point, but come on now. Yep, good dwell time there. Yeah, if that's the other thing, if we can get your dwell time, like your longer dwell times, to happen with your eyes farther up and ahead, that's going to be big. Because right now we're seeing good dwell time on entry, and it's pretty high up on entry, but it's not far enough ahead.
Far enough out or ahead, yep.
Yep, and then there's typically like either a good cluster of gazes in the middle of a corner, or a long dwell point, but if we can but it's typically low on the surface of the track, close to you, and if we can get that much farther down the track, that's going to be good.
Yep.
All right, playing this through again. Good. Now, the good part is that your eyes did the good thing when you did go off, is you looked at still the edge of the track, kind of where you wanted to go. You evaluated what cars were coming, you looked towards the flagger, and so like your eyes are doing exactly what they should be here.
I can get out. Yeah, I can get out. Okay.
Yeah. Get out.
Yep.
So, and again, from a mental point of view, this is important video to watch to kind of see how are you doing afterwards, Were there head shakes going on? Was there like, pounding on the steering wheel, expletives, stuff like that?
Yeah. I think I was mostly confused. I wasn't even like, I was upset, but like I was just more confused than anything. And I wanted to get off the track because I didn't know what happened.
Yeah. What's interesting to note too, your eyes now are much lower than they were before. So you've got a few like kind of at the horizon, but a lot of them are way down here. Or at least they were up until this point. Yeah, see all these like super low ones.
Yeah, like right above the hood line.
Exactly, and that can be not a sign of defeat, but like kind of shoulder slump, like oh man, kind of bummed stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of times, like the vision really does is an indication of mood and attitude and all that kind of stuff. Which, like, I mean, this was really. I know Road America was, or sorry, Road Atlanta was tough because of mechanicals and stuff, but this was kind of your first bummer of the year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think
I'd
is
say
pretty
so.
remarkable to speak of in
Yeah.
a season.
I mean, it's such a bummer because, like, you know, when you do so well so quickly right off the bat, and you're basically holding first throughout the entire event,
Yeah.
and like, yeah, Mario got me by less than a tenth for the overall record, and to be honest, like, whatever, like that is what it is. I'm like, he's gonna come up with something. It's Mario, right? So, like, that is what it is. But, yeah, then for this to happen, I was just like, what the hell? Like,
Yeah.
it's just so weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
So-
it's certainly like one swing to the other. You know, it's like super super sick, and then at the end, and then at the very end of the event, you're like, damn, what the hell?
Yep. Yeah, and it's funny, we were talking about how your parents took it too.
Yeah, that
after
was
the,
funny.
After the point.
The car just spun out.
Yeah.
Like after the bump.
Yeah, head shaking. Well,
Yeah.
what happened there? There we go.
Yeah, there's the head shakes.
Yep.
Dude, I don't know what happened. Turn 4, I like hit the brakes and the car just spun out. Like after the bump.
Yep. So, then all the explanation and stuff like that. Yep, that's when you took it off, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so, especially in, our conversation is like, all right, so what's next, right? So, we can certainly take lessons from this year to apply them to next year's Autobahn, but like in terms of next event, which is pit race. We can certainly, like, the whole nutrition and food thing is, I don't want to say it's going to be a focus because you're typically very good about it, but certainly will be like more a part of
I
the
need
routine.
to stay on top of it.
Yep.
Yeah. It's so wild, not to be long-winded about it, but like,
No.
I guess I just want to use this second to emphasize, like, driving takes a huge physical and mental toll, a lot more than people tend to believe, especially in like these high stress situations. So if I have one word of advice, drink as much water as you can and make sure you fuel yourself properly, because you are not going to feel good after, doing something like that and you've had no food. Like, you'll feel sick. So,
Well, it's hard. It's really hard on those weekends to get proper nutrition.
yeah, definitely.
Like the hamburgers and the hot dogs, and like those are delicious. Don't
Yeah.
get me wrong, but like
Right.
that ain't it. Over the course of 3 typically hot days that we've got,
Yeah.
it just your
Yeah.
body doesn't break that down well.
Right.
So yeah, certainly food and nutrition is, again, going to be important. In terms of like coming into the weekend, I think trying, at least from my point of view, certainly trying to come out swinging like you did, but like keep that. There was such a noticeable shift from like, all right, I broke the record, now I'm going to focus on podium sprint.
Yep.
That I feel like there's some sort of maximization that we could do in the middle to like go out and like stay hungry for, we still have track time. We can still, we can
See
still
where we
drop
can
a
try to
record.
improve.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just so like the intensity level, like whenever you go out on track, the intensity level stays at that level, rather than trying to like I don't say take it easy, but like certainly on the downslope, and then all of a sudden just have all of it on this one session. So
Yeah,
we're
that's true.
practicing that intensity and that focus.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. We also talked about the change we're going to make with when we review video and data. That was something you brought up. That we're going to change for pit race, and this is something that Pete and I, especially the first year, had a lot of back and forth in terms of like what do you need, what are we doing that works, what are we doing that we can change to be better, and we've made a few changes over the years for sure. And whenever you come to me with like, hey, can we do this, it's gonna help, it's like that amazing, because like usually I feel like I've got a few ideas and stuff, but whenever you bring something, like I'm all ears, let's go.
Yeah.
What about you going into pit? I know we're gonna do some sim stuff and whatnot, but what other things after talking and looking at all this do you want to work on or do differently?
I think certainly the eye, just the eye stuff, and just making sure like I'm looking ahead. Like, not to say that I have like officially figured out to trail brake the car to rotate it the way I want. That'll never happen. No one's perfect. Like, I can always improve upon that. But like, just from the beginning of the season, from like now, I can tell just from driving that there's a big difference there. And now that I've made that leap, so to speak, I can kind of say, okay, that's like priority number 2, still focus on that. But now I have more bandwidth or brain space for like, okay, now let's work on something else, like the eye, looking ahead, like keep my head up, that type of stuff. So that's certainly what I'm wanting to do for pit, because that goes back to what you told me is don't anticipate what the car is going to do, don't react to it. Or you said it differently, but something along those lines, where it's like, if you're reacting to the car, you're probably too late. And that's kind of how I like thought about it. It's like, if you're providing input to the car and you're in the middle of a turn and you're reacting to it, you're like a step behind or a half step behind. You should anticipate and like know what the car is going to do, so you don't have to fight it. And you kind of just, that will allow you to just be faster. So I think that concept plus looking farther ahead is gonna go really well hand in hand.
And what's going to be wild about the vision thing, I think, too, is that, for you were saying that, your ability to trail brake allows you to now focus on your eyes. But I think what you're going to find is when your vision and how you use it gets better, all of a sudden you're going to have so much more bandwidth to focus on trail braking, to focus on finishing the rotation with a little bit of throttle in certain corners, and like managing the amount of throttle. Like, instead of this much throttle release, you're going to do this much. Because you're taking a much bigger picture, and it's going to help with that anticipation that you and I talk about and all that stuff. So vision is one of those truly fundamental things that allows everything else to elevate when it gets better. So certainly something like on your daily commute, practice, get your eyes up, like around tight corners. Like, if you're like, before you turn your turn signal on, have you looked at the exit of the corner, right?
Dude, I'm gonna be doing that. I'm gonna hit somebody because I'm not paying attention.
No, but here's the thing. Like, it's a heel and toe downshifting on the street. Brake release on street is so much harder because there's so many more things, the way that everything happens. It's harder to do it slow. And so if your vision is good on the street with all that going on, I don't want to say it's easy, because we're going very fast and like our brains still are fighting with the fact that we might be dying in a moment. But like getting that vision, having that practice, before you hit the turn signal, click,
Right.
and then you're
Yeah.
kind of glancing through, you're seeing your path before you're there, and then once you're at the apex, right, you're looking at the next thing. Because at that, really, once you're at the apex, like the corner's done. Like the exit,
Yeah.
the exit is how
That's what
you have
matters.
set it
Yeah.
up. So there's no point in dwelling where you're at. Like especially coming onto the long back straight at Autobahn's a great example. Like your exit of 10 is really how you've set it up coming out of 9. And so as soon as like you're back on a little bit of throttle, your eye should be all the way down at 11.
All the way down. Yeah.
Glancing in the mirror like you're really good at doing stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that's it's certainly an extended session from Pete and I. This is a lot of, but we often don't get the chance to like really do a super deep dive like this, unless we kind of set it aside. So, yeah, I mean the record, that first session was such a huge improvement from last year. We can definitely see the car's working better. We can definitely see where your brake release has become much improved. We can definitely see the whole throttle release skill is certainly coming into its own. So like, again, I'm thinking like a year and a half ago, like when we started working together, like you're driving.
It's like a different driver, man.
It'd be funny to take video, like say from Gingerman, from like 23 before we started working together, 24 first year, and then 25, and then like put them side by side and start them all at the start finish, and not just see the time difference, but like see the inputs,
the driving inputs and all that. Yeah,
I think that'd be fun.
It's funny because I do have a really old video. I think my BRZ was supercharged. And man, that was rough. Sometimes when I go watch that, I'm like, what the hell am I even doing?
Vintage Pete.
Dude, it's not even vintage Pete. Pete doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He's got too much horsepower for his car. Yeah. That's what that was. That was HPD, but still, it was like, I think my lap time was like a 146 at Gingerman with like almost 300 horsepower, something stupid. But
I look at some of my original one lap videos from 2018 and stuff like that, and like I thought I was doing so well back then, and I like looking back on it now, it's like, sure, the car's gotten, I mean, it's a different car at this point, but like what I'm doing is just different. But I think what's also good is like if you can identify, but like at that point in my learning journey or growth or story, whatever you want to call it, like I was doing these couple things okay for where I was. And like, as race car drivers, funny, we are so good at shitting on ourselves. And just like, I'm terrible at this, I'm no good here, like, but it's like always like coming into a weekend, it's good to know what you feel like you're good at. And so even if things are like, feel like they're crumbling around you, you have these few things that it's like, I'm pretty good on corner exit. So it's like, even if things are going weird, you can be like, pretty good on corner exit here. Get going, and then maybe that can just be that little bit of a switch that you need to be able to then all right, what's next? Okay, yeah, that wasn't great. Corner exit. Okay, sweet. Some grounding thing, like you said, turn 4 at Autobahn you really like.
Yeah, turn 4 is awesome. I love turn 4 because I feel like you like if you can dance the car just right, you feel like it's not floating, but it's just like the right amount of grip and the right amount of speed and the right amount of, oh shit, am I gonna go off or am I gonna stay on? It's like the best. I don't know. I love turn 4. It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, good. Yeah, one more thing, and you know, like we talked about last year going into Pitt rather with Pete. Um, we kind of knew it was high stakes in terms of the season championship, but we also know the same thing, that the thing that got you to the point of being able to fight was like, how do I come off of the brake coming here?
Yeah.
What's my hand speed transition? Where do I want the car here? Like, it's just
Yeah.
these little steps. That's how the work gets done. Like, that's how you, Pete, honestly, how you break records and how you do well in the podium is, we try not to zoom out very much at all. It's just like, what is the current job? What's the thing I need to put my focus and effort into? And it's difficult over the last season, when everything's on the line, and it's not like we're here. Kind of the slate gets wiped clean at that point, and it's just like you've got a goal overall, but it's a result. It's not what we're actually focused and working on. So that'll be that.
Yep.
So. If anyone has any questions or stuff, it doesn't look like it, but appreciate you all kind of hanging out with us and stuff. Reach out if there's anything I personally can do to help. And keep an eye out for Pete going into pit race for the Club TR season and stuff like that. So.